and finish on a Spirit of Rebellion Part 2 is actually where we're starting it and actually finishing up today. Get into all that, I want to share a couple of different websites with you and also a couple of different telephone numbers to where you can actually contact us. Or if you have any questions, to where you can call in during our small break that we take as well. But the first emails, before I give them to you, is victoriouslovemp@gmail.com. Also, Victorious Love MP at Instagram, and Victorious Show at YouTube. And so, thank you so much for tuning in into the Victorious Show. This is actually going to, if you guys followed along with us last week, this will actually take you up to date of, I'll give a summary of that and also go into what we're going to go into today. But I'll give you even more information. I can't find you on there, but it'll say Charlotte, North Carolina. Don't look for Tulsa, Oklahoma. So you'll see Charlotte, North Carolina on there. So that is me on there as well. And also I have a couple of phone numbers to give to you. So you can call in if you have any questions or anything, or even something to add to what I'm talking about, or even if you've been through this before. And the phone number is 786-288-0828. The second phone number I want to give to you is 509-289-2925. And so, yes, hey, Matthew, I wanted to net. This whole thing, what we're doing is actually to spread the word of Jesus Christ, to get this all over everywhere to where people can know the truth and be able to get taught the truth. And that's what we do, biblical word for word. I'm not going to talk about nothing that you cannot find in the word of God. And I also encourage you to actually go and study it, as well. So make sure you write everything down, take notes, so you can go back later on to actually go and see where it's at in the Bible. And so that's one of the biggest things I really want to encourage people with. Thank you so much for all the comments. Thank you so much for the encouragement. What I'm doing, you can never know enough. I will always be a student of the Word of God as God teaches me all the way up until the time He comes back or He takes me home. So you always got to remember that. You'll never arrive. You can never show up. This is a place of just learning and learning about Christ, and also being able to share with your family and friends. And so this is what you guys know. I think that's about it. So we're going to go ahead and get into what we're going to be talking about today. And like I said, those phone numbers, please call in whenever yours is going to break. If you have something before or after that, just let us know. And we'll get to you and we will be able to answer your question. And if I cannot answer your question, please understand. I will pray about your question and get back to you, because you don't want to hear from me. I had some people say they was tuning in today, and one of the biggest things, majority of my life, everything that I knew was going off of myself, being my own person, being my own person, and actually not, and being led by the flesh and not living in the spirit, man, of who I am. So I totally understand this. I totally know this spirit so well. And I would not share something I don't know what I'm talking about or don't know what it is. It's no point. So the things I talk about is literally things I've been through, something I've experienced, something I know, something the spirit of rebellion will come and wreak havoc in our lives if we allow it to, in our families if we allow it to, in our businesses, in our jobs, anything that we put our hands to, over yourself and your spirit. And we are spirit beings. We are spirit people. So how can we give our flesh more power than our spirit? And yes, true enough, we do it. I'm leading me down the wrong pathway. And then you get the questions like, oh my God, why isn't God saving me? Why isn't God helping me? But we're being led by our own flesh. So how can we get mad at God when we are actually not including Him in our lives? We're actually doing whatever we want to do. And then we get mad when things don't work out the way that we planned it and the way we set it up. And it's like, okay, did you not just hear the first part is we set it up, we planned it. And when you actually live like that, like I was taking care of the household at a young age, if you grew up in a crazy home, dysfunctional families, we all have them. And there's responsibility that the parents were supposed to have, but actually fell on you. And so you And so when that sticks with you at a young age, it actually will carry you as you become older and become grown and become, have your own family. Then you realize, like, oh my gosh, I'm actually still doing the same things I've been doing since I was a kid or youth. When now it's like, I surrender. You have the time. You're free. You don't have to live like that any longer. God has come to restore and come to save it and come to help you out of that spot to, I, I'll see a stopping point to actually break it down, to explain to you, actually take this. This isn't taught to me, so I had to learn it the hard way. Taught to me, so I had to learn it the hard way. So I just feel like it's my duty to actually. Okay, just hold on with me, guys. Okay. Hey, let me get back. Thank you. All right, so we chapter 1:26. For this reason, God gave them up to vile passions, for even their women exchanged the natural use for what is against nature. Even burned in their lust for one another, men with men committing what is shameful and receiving in themselves the pity of their. So this is what Paul is saying over to the Romans, which I know that sounds very familiar, especially in the times that we are living in. God is talking about his wrath on the unrighteousness. And trust me, God is not afraid of the perversion. He's not afraid of the shame and the rejection that we face. He can heal our hearts. He can heal our minds. Trust me. And I'm here to tell you that God has all power to restore and rescue you if you are going through any of these things that I'm talking about right now. So don't feel ashamed and don't feel like, hey, man, I don't do this. I'll show you, and he will give you an answer. He will open up a door for you to help you to walk through, and he will send somebody in your life mind, which is like a reprobate mind, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy, murder, untrustworthy, unloving, unforgiving, unmerciful, who know and practice them. Now, I just read the last part of Romans 1, and last week we talked about faith, and he talked about God's wrath on unrighteousness. And that was part of it. And what we see today in our Christian man or woman is, if you live in the world and you do these things in the world, God said, literally, I will pull myself as a stranger holding on to my hand, like, no, you need to stay with me, because on over here is darkness over here. The thing about it is how it hurts God use you, destroy you. And your mother and father saying, come on, please come with me. I know we can get you the help. I love you. Let me, and you're resisting them. So you know what that parent is going to do after you chose to the stranger. What the parent is going to do, they just have to step back and say, okay, my daughter, my son, you chose what you wanted, so I have to step back. It's hard when we actually choose the dark side, when we do choose the stranger. The stranger that it's hard to let certain situations go when you know that you can actually step in and be in good use. That's what God does. But God change up how you want to. Then God says, I'll pull my spirit back from you and I'll give you over to Satan, because that's where you want to be at. And he wants healthy relationship with his children. But it's our choice to give him healthy relationship. People, I want to do how I want to do it, and when I feel I need God, I'll run to the church. When I feel like I'm going through a crisis, I'll run in this season, especially if you know that you're called by God to do great work here on this earth. You got a word over your life, and you know that what you're supposed to be doing, then they're living the life that I've been living forever. I like living this life. I like going out here, guaranteed truth. I didn't make this up. This is what the word said. So, people was like, oh, okay, how can you say that? Well, I'll just go start with chapter 1, verse 1 and read all the whole message. And I will pull back from you and I will let you do what you want to do, because God is not going to stand there. He's not trying to keep you captive or a slave. Time when you get in trouble, and you get down and out, and you don't know what to do. Who are we to sit there? What you be worried about when you know that you are called by God, and you have darkness over in this dark world, letting Satan do whatever and however he wanted to do to you, just treating you over and over again. And then they keep giving you forgiveness. And our job is to ask for help if we want the help. But there's some people who don't want the help. I know lots of people who want the help so they can get out here and get buffed. They're going to come back to Christ. Keep giving it over to Satan because the spirit of rebellion, we will never accomplish the things God has for us. Worship. The thing about it is, if your heart is not right with God, you'll pull out there from 12 up to 82. It wouldn't matter. You will still be in that same cycle because you have still not beat the spirit of let it take you over. And we cannot let these things like spirit of rebellion to come and overtake us when we come to the flesh out of us, because we want to be our own gods. That just don't sound right. And then we give ourselves over to actually create evil things, backbiters, haters of God, to be violent, malicious, murderers, dealing with maliciousness, to be proud, using pride, boasters, inventors of evil things, disobedient parents, words. But there's been plenty of times in my life that I didn't follow these things. Now, if you do not walk with life, then you're walking with death. That's as simple as that. There's no in between. There's no middle. You either wake up and debate about this. The thing about it is that when it shows how much you love God when you hear everything. The wine spirit. I'm gonna keep this spirit. It falls in this. It's all in the same family. We have to know the truth, and we have to know the devils that we deal with out here. But we first got to make sure we're not the devil ourselves. We got to make sure we're not the devil's work. Because I refuse to get on here and teach and do this and say this if I'm living that life. I'm not doing that. I fear the Lord too much to do that. And you should fear the Lord too much to get out here and make an impact to the country, to the world, to wherever, to our family, us individually. I can't sit here and talk about everybody else when I haven't started with myself first. Be in the middle. There's no middle. You're either right or you're wrong. That's just what it is. It's terrible to live on both sides, because I'm telling you, it's going to be bad at the end. So it's good what you deal with, why you do it, and get it handled. Don't let shame and guilt keep you from getting your healing, because your healing is everything to get you to the next place. So I was just reading Romans 1, and like I said, there's so many other things that actually we can look at, and I have a couple more scriptures. Clear that rebellion is a great way to find yourself in dry land spiritually. So a person actually trusts the Lord, who literally lets the Lord use you through your spirit, and you choose your spirit and let it have. The thing who doesn't, they'll have a dry land. There's nothing there in a dry land, nothing but death. There's not even water flowing. There's no